welcome to Swim Number One. Today, I have the pleasure of having a conversation with Cory Kirk, actor and writer based out of LA. I'm hoping to pick his brain a bit about the industry, the actor's process, and a bit of the metaphysical oddness that goes on in that city that we all know for so many reasons. So, thank you all for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. All right. Well, hey, Cory.
Hey Gus, thanks for
Thank
having
you. Thank you so much for doing this. This is the first time we're having a swim project cast sort of situation. So thank you for being on Swim Number One. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
me. For sure. Thank you for having me. Rock on.
Yeah. So Cory Kirk, actor, philanthropist, all kinds of awesome shit. One of the coolest people I know. You definitely got those good vibes, and I don't know, man. I'm excited to hear about what you're doing, and just all the cool shit you're always up to.
Likewise, and ditto's my good friend. And I could say the same for you. I appreciate it. I've just been out here in Hollywood for about a decade now, and nowadays I've been able to go after roles and create roles with the scripts that me and my co-partners are writing. So we're not waiting around for the auditions for other people, their parts. We get to actually write our own parts. So that's what we've done with our production company, Illusion Islands, this last 2 years. And it's really
Awesome.
a game changer. Yeah, it's awesome. We're not waiting for the roles to come to us. We're creating them.
Exactly.
So
It just gives you that
yeah.
creative freedom. So, I mean, I wasn't aware of this. Are you involved in the writing process as well and all that good stuff?
Oh yeah. I've
Okay.
got this spurring up here, and I've just
Nice.
put and bare boned it, and then put it into script format and revised it. So yeah, I've been able to do a lot of horror movies that have always been on my mind since a kid. Um,
Interesting.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
there anything that you would say is coming up soon that we need to know about?
Oh yeah, thanks for asking. I appreciate it. We've got a streaming movie going to be streaming on one of the big platforms, whether it be Netflix or Hulu, just one of the big ones. Watch out for it. It's going to
Okay.
be The Perfectionist. It's
The
a
Perfectionist.
Yeah, The Perfectionist Hairstylist, tentatively titled, and it's a horror movie, and it's going to follow this one guy Dan and his parents that really abused him and physically abused him, mentally abused him. He turns and snaps one day as a hairstylist, and it follows that
Fuck.
week of mental deterioration that he goes
Interesting.
through. Yeah,
So
so
it's like a mental thriller kind of situation almost.
exactly. If you remember,
Nice.
Halle Berry in The Call meets like the It. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, man. Well, I'm excited to check it out. So you obviously wrote some of it. Are you gonna also play a part in it?
Oh yeah, I played the lead role, Dan.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, dude. All right, awesome.
yep,
Well,
yep.
very excited for this to come out, bro.
Yeah, we're really trying to raise awareness of what that abuse can do, and it really
Mhm.
rings true and is timely and apt during these days of senseless violence on school campuses and stuff.
Dude,
You
I
know.
completely agree. I've been having a couple of conversations with some close friends exactly about what you're saying right now. It's about abuse and how it really does affect every aspect of adulthood, really. Like a lot of the uh, things that can cause panic attacks or that can cause, a variety of problems really do stem just from, old shit that we've been through. And you're totally right. And there should be more media focusing on that psychological issue that no one really is talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we hope to shed light on it and kind of get a compassion and understanding and a fix for that problem. Yeah.
I agree, man. I agree.
Hmm.
Well, like I kind of discussed a bit with swim, our whole, I guess, goal and I guess my goal really, because this has just been a bunch of crazy ideas that have come together, and luckily we have people like you that understand what's going on and believe in the situation. But I mean, as you know, and I've told you, the main goal really is to discuss and not just for me to get a chance to speak to people, but I want to be able to continue learning. You know, like I would never be able to really see the perspective of Hollywood or all these things that you're going through that you can see if I didn't have this conversation. So I mean, at the end of the day, it is about learning, but a big part of it is, you know, focusing on all that extra metaphysical oddness that we all know and we all participate in on a day-to-day basis.
Truth.
So I wanted to ask you a quick question. I mean, as you know, a big part of kind of the project is to bring psychedelic awareness to
Yeah.
the masses. I've been noticing myself that there's a big resurgence just in psychedelia and all of that in Hollywood and in just like mainstream. How have
Yeah.
you seen it affect just everything that's coming out and I guess the mentality in Hollywood? It must have changed a bit.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, as actors and showbizzers, we've heard of, you know, the stories from Wall Street and New York of the CEOs that are microdosing and they're solving problems that they've had for 10 years because of, you know, a epiphany that they had during that microdose to make them think outside the box. So we take that model after hearing that it's successful there. And I think, you know, as artists, we've always been um, more open to psychedelia, and as artists, we're always seeking our inner, you know, self, and so I think that, you know, a lot of the Trump administration, the problems, it's kind of like uh, so hard to deal with. So you've seen a surge of activism and kind of actors that are kind of, um, you know, we're emotional people, and the state of the events and everything in the country, and you know, politics aside, just democracy and seeing where it's going.
Of
So I've
course.
been really tolling on us artists because we really feel. So we've kind of responded in different ways, and one of those ways is to kind of get out of reality and kind of um, change your horizon and your mindset, because the day-to-day reality and the news headlines are so taxing on one's, you know, soul.
Most
um,
definitely.
I think that we're responding with kind of, we've always been open and akin and attuned to trying things to kind of get in the head of a character when
Of
we're
course.
portraying it. So
See, that's
it
so
really,
interesting that you brought that up. That's actually one of the things that I've been thinking about, like as an actor, you know. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no,
it's it's something that I mean, you know, a lot of people when they have a psychedelic experience will argue that there's a possibility of ego death or ego dissolution or just some sort of depersonalization from the self. Um,
right.
you know, obviously you're someone that's experienced with these sort of things. Would you say that having those experiences allows you to like better jump into a role or
Yeah.
better like, you know, just kind of live what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. You have to understand yourself, and you've got to be really attuned to your, um, you know, identity. So,
Hmm.
in doing psychedelics, you kind of open up your mind and expand it. And so, when you come down from each successful trip, um, you're definitely a wiser and a more open-minded person. So yeah, it really helps us to get into those characters' heads, to kind of put yourself in someone else's shoes, and maybe kind of see things um, as an epiphany, to where you understand that character and, oh, um, it definitely, the a role, you can invest a year and a half in one role and it can be taxing. We all saw what the Joker did to the Heath Ledger. So sometimes, um, coming out of those roles, it's real nice to have a psychedelic experience to kind of put an end to that chapter and put that chapter to bed, and like a turnover and restart. And I look at psychedelic experiences as, once every 3 years for me. I get to a point where I feel like I deserve it, and then I need to a new experience. Um, but yeah, definitely, it's a break, a brain turnover, and a recharge, a reset, to kind of get yourself out of the funk from that
Of
character that kind
course.
of with you, because some of those characters, you delve deep into the psyche of them, and you're kind of always there to pull that from where. And sometimes movies take a while to make, so yeah, it's nice to shake that character off and
Hmm.
go reward yourself with an experience, as well as to get in tune with one before a project starts.
Of course. See, that's extremely interesting, and it makes sense. I mean, so I guess the method really is to hop into that character's mindset and psychology
Uh-huh.
100%. So I
Yeah,
mean, like you mentioned just now with Heath Ledger and
yeah.
the toll that it took on him. I mean, would
Mhm.
you say that when he was doing that, he was actually feeling what was going on? I mean, does it get to that level? You know what I mean? Is that, I guess, what being a good actor is?
Right, right. Well, the expectation, everyone's watching you, everyone wants you to do justice to this iconic character.
Hmm.
You've had acting greats and legends that have come before you, i.e., Jack Nicholson. So the heat was on, and I think he
Right.
needed to really prove himself, to the comic book universe. And so when he took that role on, the pressure was on. So yeah, I think that, um, and some of the times to get in that zone, some actors will, as Heath Ledger did, I think, experiment with all kinds of, maybe narcotics in the form of pills. And he was really on some sleep deprivation,
Mhm.
and uppers and downers, and, just like Judy Garland. So it really does you know, uh, a toll on you.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. I mean, at that point, you're mentioning situations where people are really just kind of numbing themselves from the reality of what's going on. But do you think that's due to the toll that it puts on them to play these roles? Does just playing these is playing these roles enough to put someone in a spot where they would want to abuse pills?
Well, you're right. Um, I think that some people, they think that they can't create that from a sober point of view.
Hmm.
So they have to get there in a chemically induced state, maybe to be more true to the art.
I see.
Um, some people are worried that they can't pull it from their sober mindset. So I think that acting is just showing human emotions on screen, and um, that's what's so beautiful about it, because
Right.
and you can go there and show what it's really like in real life, and recreate that truth about that character in that moment. So um, it's just always wise to know how to pull yourself out of that,
Hmm.
and to above all of that, and not succumb to your you know battle with that role. Must pull yourself up and know that it's just pretend, and remind yourself that for mind, body, and soul, and a sound sanity. you know
Right. Right. So I mean, right now I know you're working on a current role that you're pretty involved in. I mean, how long have you been now working on that character and just getting yourself in that persona?
um Probably we started filming back in 2019,
Okay.
so we were writing and revising, and I was kind of doing screen tests. So it was definitely, it's been a 2-year process.
Wow.
And of course, when you're just, a startup production company, and you've gotten lucky on your first, bat out,
Yeah.
then you're definitely working part-time jobs, all of us crew members and
Of
creators.
course.
So you have to extend the filming schedule, because we're all just doing this you know, just to make a mark. And sometimes we're having to do double time with jobs, so filming can't be done so often. Yeah.
No, of course. No, that makes sense. But that really speaks for the project and for, I guess, the feeling behind what's actually going on. The fact that you guys give a fuck
Yeah.
about, you know, not just making a quality piece of entertainment for whoever it is that will watch it, but there's a lot more to it. I mean, you're saying all the abuse and all of the points that will be discussed in the film. I
Right.
think that's something that, yeah, like you're saying, a big production company, why would they? Why, you know, like they're after things that might not lean themselves too much towards helping people learn, or, you know. So no, that's fucking really awesome, man. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you're saying like mental health of actors in general, and obviously don't know much about the acting world other than the few conversations you and I have had over the years, just cool
Yeah.
stuff that you shared. But
Yeah.
you mentioned pills and all of that sort of abuse. Um,
Hmm.
it sounds like in Hollywood there's more cocaine and
Yeah.
opiates than there are mushrooms and ketamine or DMT or whatever. I mean, would you say
Right.
that's pretty much the way
Yeah.
it is?
Rings real true. Yeah, that's true. I think the cocaine comes with that rich lifestyle and that fast and rich man's drug. And then I think the opiates, you know, um, get them up for the early morning call time, and then work them all day, and then make sure that they have a downer to go to bed on, and they're up in 3 hours with another upper. So the nature of the business is so fast paced.
Is
And
it really like that when they're recording or like in a project?
well, not anymore today, but back in the day in the 30s, they did that with Judy Garland. And
Gotcha.
yeah, but like,
Wow, they're really working them.
yeah, exactly. But you're right. Um, Creative people, maybe some of your actors, your YouTubers, your producers, they do recreational psychedelia, but a lot of them, um, it would seem, would benefit from more use of it.
It
And
sounds like it from what you're telling me. These mental resets almost feel necessary in between a role. I mean, once
exactly.
again, I'm not an actor. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
kind of put myself into the shoes of people that have gone as far as committing suicide. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's points in my life where I need a reset. Otherwise, I'm at the brink. So I mean, I can see people that deal with much more stress than I do needing it as well. You know, I mean,
Oh, yeah. Um, my friend Hagen, he was here with us in LA and moved back to Kentucky, and him and his high school sweetheart, um, they had some troubles, and he ended up um, passing, and it was a murder, attempted murder suicide this past May. It made
thanks,
head,
man.
yeah, and poor guy, um, you know. His horror movie comes out this month in August. He's with Scout Taylor Compton in a new horror movie. But it's definitely difficult because he was battling going back to Kentucky.
Mhm.
That's where he was from, and the meth community is real bad there.
Of course.
And as an actor, he wanted to make sure he was in shape, so he was on steroids.
Mm.
So meth and steroids can really make you, for lack of a better term, go Chris Benoit, professional wrestler, you
Gotcha.
know, go crazy.
Not a mix I'm too familiar with, but I could imagine.
Yeah, so you're right. All these other ones, these drugs out here are real um, dangerous because mixing all these bad chemicals. And I think that um, I'm a. Are you there?
I'm
I'm a
here.
real. I'm a
Okay.
real big. I'm a real big fan of um, good natured um, chemicals that have been proven in scientific studies for years and decades that actually have beneficial use on and people as a whole. So I am not for all of those opiates and those pills and for the coke and the meth, but I definitely am for, you know, Mother Earth and those chemical arrangements that really can enhance our lives, i.e.,
Right.
LSD, lysergic acid, baby. Yeah,
No, of course, LSD is a very powerful tool. I mean, like you're mentioning microdosing, the actual dosing, but I do agree. I mean, like you were saying before, Hollywood has taken a lot from the high tech community where they dose and they get together and they come up with ideas. Would you say that a lot of like the writing rooms and stuff like that are full of people microdosing and kind of popping ideas back and forth?
oh, of course, yeah. The real bohemian chic um, Hollywood West Coast writers that are being paid well and living a paradise life. So, of course, they
Right.
have the um, oh, um, a good start, a good mindset to start and to enjoy a trip with. You know, there's not a bunch of stress
Gotcha.
that are on the, their head. They have a relaxation of life. So of course that's so conducive to creativity, and so of course they come up with those plot lines and those oh, awesome ways to write the story with a little help from yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
But it
So
is a good point that you bring up. Like they need to be in an initial spot where they're mellow and okay to even be able to have these good experiences because
yeah,
as we know, sometimes using psychedelics or other ethnogens can lead to quite a difficult experience if you're not in the right place.
truth, yeah.
So I see what you're saying, man. It can go both ways, especially in that community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it enhances their life and their creativity. And they're already at a good mind. They are already at a good mindset. They are already at a good mindset. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, speaking on just the use of substance in general, like we're saying, there's quite a bit of that sketchy, dark stuff. But I
Yeah.
guess on a brighter note, you were kind of saying that there's a transition kind of maybe going on in people's understanding of their substances. Is that something you've seen over the last decade or so that you've been in LA, or has it stayed pretty steady with the harmful stuff?
Right. Well, yeah, you're right. The counterculture has definitely been on the rise. Um, they definitely I don't know if that has to do with the political landscape, if counterculture's on the rise because of that, or perhaps maybe an awareness. Generations are just aware of that nostalgia that's cool. Um, Maybe they feel like they can relate to the people of the 1960s, 1968, and kind of call to action and maybe a revolution.
Right,
Um,
right.
it's very similar times. So I think that, that can be attributed to a rise in the knowledge. Maybe, um, Timothy Leary, he's always been a hero in my book, but I think there's more mainstream articles out there that have been highlighting that um, those trials were very successful with depression back in the 60s. So I think that we're finally able to see medical journals recognize the medical benefits of it
Hmm.
and finally see the news cover that. So it's changing public opinion, and it's made everyone think twice and not just um, think of LSD as such a you know wild route. I think that it's been normalized um, to where it's a treatment that is a lot better than some of these opiates put out by Pfizer and Merck that are killing us softly and slowly and just keeping us alive to buy the next medicine. I think that we're all looking at homeopathic and natural remedies more so with our health and holistic culture in the last 10 years. So people are looking for natural remedies besides stuff that the doctors, make the pharmaceuticals all the
Right.
money.
Of course, the issue is that some pharmaceuticals definitely have a place. I mean, I ever have a open heart surgery or something, I want to be able to be put under, but I
Right.
agree, like you were saying earlier, they're giving actors this stuff just to go to sleep. I mean, you can't be like I guess one of the things that most people know about, like the whole Michael Jackson thing, the homeboy was getting doped up at extreme amounts. So, I mean, that becomes so normalized that next thing you know, it's almost like, why aren't you doing it? I guess, or it
Right.
can lead to just such a horrible normality, which hopefully will slowly but surely begin to put a dent into.
Yes.
It's so concerning, man. So concerning.
Oh yeah. Just the same way that it took Elvis. Um, it's a bunch of yes people around you. And like with MJ, there's people that just want to make money off you, so they tell you what you want to hear, and you never, you're just being kept up to be a puppet to make the money and be a show horse. And um, so it definitely, um, yeah, they kind of become dependent on that, and no one's telling them, hey, this might be killing you, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, they don't want them to snap out of it. There's no benefit in having a workhorse that's not working.
Exactly.
They
Yeah,
lose their value real quick.
it's very dangerous. Yeah, the industry's dangerous.
Well, that's why it's cool that you guys are doing your own thing, man. You get
Yeah,
to work on your schedule.
yeah,
Don't need to be whipped and thrown around working and sleeping 2 hours a day. Um,
exactly. Yeah. Now, hopefully, I'm on those projects soon that require long days, but we're still getting back into the kick of things with showbiz being closed down because of COVID
I was
19.
going to ask you about that. I mean, LA must be completely different now than it was even 2 months ago, right? I mean, is it just every day changing?
Oh, yeah. It's been just a trip, a hell, roller coaster through hell, it seems like, since March. Um, yeah, just the great unknown, and then knowing that you still have to work and to, survive in this city, and the great unknown about putting yourself out there, and then being an essential worker. But then there was a lot of pressure coming from no leadership, so we all didn't know the same information, and weren't getting on the same page. And then about the time that you couldn't work, it was getting really heavy with finances and everything for everyone. And then, um, Black Lives Matters protests started, and I'm all for equality and ending police brutality, and scaling back exorbitant police funds, and really focusing on the fact of how they redline districts and keep people poor and keep certain communities down, the way that it's just a cycle that contributes to the same cycle, and no one really educates and learns and get out of it. And it's all about keeping those segments of communities down. Um, so it really resonates with me. And then the activism part of being an actor, you have to be an activist, because as artists, we have this platform that's very powerful. So it's our duty to showcase and shed light on troubles going on and injustices. So that started, and then you were afraid about COVID-19 with big mass crowds, and then people weren't keeping others safe and keeping our older folks safe. And so it's been a real big roller coaster. Things have opened back up back in June here in LA, because there was pressure from the rest of the country back in May to open back up. And then we opened back up in June, and it was just a little bit early. I read an LA Times article this week of August about it, and it's definitely been a roller coaster, because then everything closed back down, and then you can't go out, and so everyone's sanity and psyches are kind of hurting because they're not able to see people, and it's coupled with financial struggles due to not being able to work. It has really been a tumultuous ride for everyone here in LA. and of course you have 4 million, I don't know, 6 million people. So there's the pressure to, it's not as low key as, you know, Omaha or, you know,
Right.
Nebraska, because there's so many people here. You really got to be careful. So being in a city so big has been kind of scary, because you know that you're going to be needing to do it extra, all the precautions extra hard, because we got to get through this as a city of millions instead of just a city of thousands. And so it's definitely been scary. That's for damn sure. And I think that it strengthened us. And, you know, as a city, we all would go out at 8 o'clock every night and bang our pots and pans in solidarity to all the, you know, rescue workers and then the healthcare workers, to say thank you. It was a cool thing to see LA come together as a community in that regards, as well as seeing our community stand up for injustice despite the dangerous risk that the government and the health of it was putting you at risk for. So it was inspiring to stand up and stand for a cause, and to try to change history just like our brothers and sisters of the 60s did. And
I agree. This is a big opportunity that not too many generations get to have people have like a renaissance, I guess, of thought and just community.
right.
Because it's been a while since people gave a shit about each other.
Oh yeah. It's been tough, and they've just kept kicking us while we're down, and the rich have just gotten richer, and everything has been stretched for us, and we've been feeling the stress, and it seems like it's time, and we've kind of spoke up and gotten tired of just getting kicked around and said no, you know, we're standing up. And you told us we couldn't kneel for injustice, so we stood up, you know. And boy, we stand, and we're making big progress. And so yeah, it's just been a pandemic plus a revolution. It's really been eventful, and I'll be the better person for having went through it. Yeah, and better actor as well. Yeah.
I completely agree, man. I mean, I just realized it's August 16th. I mean, we're like quarter away from the year being over.
I know.
You know, but you're right. It's just been so much that's been going on that it really doesn't feel like it. I mean, hear a lot of people saying they've been bored and slow through the pandemic and stuff, but I feel like it's been a time of so much more stuff going on than ever, you know, like
right.
It's been very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's nice to talk to a like-minded person as yourself, my brother, because you know we both stay informed and we know what's going on, and we're not living in our own little private Idaho. So of course, yeah, this has been a thrilling and a scary, and it feels like you're alive type moment here. Yeah.
No, I
And
agree with you, man. It's definitely been a wake-up call, I guess, to normality, or what we thought normality was. That wasn't. You know, it's been like everyone wake the fuck up. Everything is not the way it should be.
oh yeah,
Right,
exactly.
but it was just so okay for so long. So no, man, I'm stoked about it. I just hope that things can find a way to thin out and people can. I don't know. I mean, I know I'm asking for a lot, but if people could just stop hating each other, that would be the big thing. But till that can fucking happen,
That's right. More
yeah,
love, less hate.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're just gonna have to take the wins we can. But no, it's I'm happy to hear the LA community in particular is really coming together and doing what it should be, because
Yeah.
it's such a diverse place, man, and you guys really are responsible for Californication and just kind of providing the rest of the country with a guideline to follow, almost as to what is socially acceptable and what isn't, you know. So if
Yeah.
the people that are in charge of figuring that out are a bunch of shitheads, then it's no wonder the rest of the country, follows suit. So
Yeah.
with time that'll adjust to being a bit more positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Mayor Garcetti really was a leader, and we, you know, were anxious to watch and excited to watch, I guess, his nightly updates. And he provided that kind of leadership that we all so very much needed in this tumultuous and crazy and scary time. Um, Now, he did sick um, tear gas and rubber pellets and force and violence of um, police brutality on the people that were protesting police brutality.
Of course.
So I won't agree with Garcetti on that, but he was there as a leader to give us our nightly updates and kind of know that we're in this together kind of feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to try to. I mean, that is his job, to create that sense of community and make people feel
Right.
cared for, because
It was lacking at the national level, that's for sure.
100%, man. I mean, I think we're lucky to live on the West Coast, and I guess be in a place where there's enough money for people to have an infrastructure. But in other places in the country where there is no infrastructure, there's really nothing. There never was. I think
Mhm.
those places, especially, people are really fending for themselves in a state of panic, really, because things have not calmed down since. And yeah, looking at the calendar right now, it's August, man. It's been going on for a while.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's flown by. Also, it's been really long and taxing.
Yeah, but on a lighter note,
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, being that I guess one of my main goals in life is to have a chance to talk with other like-minded people about just extraordinary, miraculous, metaphysical situations that they have witnessed and encountered. I know LA is a very magical, energy vortex-filled sort of area.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would say has stood out in your time in LA that is completely just not from this world?
Oh, yeah. I'm inspired by Jim Morrison. I go to Venice Beach and I walk the alleyways and streetways and boardwalks that he walked to be
Interesting.
inspired. And I've definitely felt his vibe with me, and I've called it out to the universe. Hey, Jim, if you're here, I'm, blazing up for you and listening to Summer's Almost Gone on Spotify.
You say you've been taking strolls with the Lizard King, huh?
Oh, yeah, exactly. And just really researching, this is such a magical land with history of Hollywood and legends walking around these streets. So you research that and you find the little meccas and those little high force filled areas where, of course, they would be there, whether it be, the hotel that Janice passed away at, or you seek out those addresses and you visit those places because, hell, it's such a landmark type city. So you go out and definitely can summons those spirits on those other dimensions that have passed from this one. And you can definitely feel the vibe from those legends. And because, you're calling out to them and you have such admiration and respect, and you're in tune with their lyrics and music. And you're creating a soundtrack of your life, and their music is your soundtrack. So it's almost like a duty, and not to get too heavy, but that's the truth of it. You definitely bump up a dimension, and you have little moments that, damn, was that real? Is this surreal? Pinch me. Because I think that there was a glitch in the matrix, and I just had a grand vision that is from another world. I mean, it definitely reminds you that we are definitely, our perception, to bring it back to Jim full circle, the doors of perception and what is real and which is an illusion. And it helps, those chemicals line up and say, hey, what about my soul right now? Where am I at spiritually? Where am I at? And you definitely can experience that here in LA. And as an artist, I'm always seeking my truth in myself. So it definitely helped me in that arena.
Of course, yeah. But it's interesting that you mentioned like these hot spots or just places where you almost know that the vibes reside, you know.
Right.
So I mean, it almost sounds like an exercise, right? To go out there and put yourself in those hotels, I guess, like you're saying, and
Yeah. Highland Garden, Dublin. Yeah.
yeah,
Apart.
yeah,
Yeah.
seeing like,
And yeah, there's all of them there, and you know those artists still run around there spirit wise. You know it's too great of a place not to. You know.
yeah, I feel it. I mean, especially those people in the 20s and 30s that built the culture, that built the Hollywood for what it is, you know, like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they are the spirit and the soul of the city.
Movie magic.
This is true, man. This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes how many things that you see on screen that are effects are actually just fucking magic, you know? That they're just like not being open about, because especially the older films, man, like 40s, 50s, 60s, that whole era.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking wild. They're really, it does carry into the art and culture. And I do see that again now, and that's what I'm excited about, really, as far as Hollywood goes. It's like you were saying before, it's a time where it's resurging. People are ready to wake up about shit again, and hopefully with art comes activism, and with that comes a change for the better. But no, that is super awesome.
Yeah, the legends are on our side. They really understand the struggle they experienced in themselves. So of course, they're if you're receptive, they're receptive, and they understand that you are a soldier, and they're going to send you a little universal magic and good karma. Yeah, throw that out there too.
No, this is the truth, man. We do put out that energy, we receive it, and and especially people like you, man. I mean, because you know, you meet people that are in acting or are in stuff like that, and it's it doesn't feel genuine, you know. But you fucking love this shit, and it really shows. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, of course.
You're always so joyous about what you're doing, and I think that's the key to fucking happiness, really.
Yeah, finding that joy in what you do.
Right.
Yeah, I'd rather be doing that than something else.
So many other things we could be doing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I like to play pretend since I was little, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, man. I know you have a podcast as well that you are constantly working on. Just wanted to learn more about it. I mean, I know you talk about Hollywood, you talk about acting, you talk about a little bit of everything. What is your podcast called?
It's called Easel Live, and it's we support the arts, hence the name Easel, and we interview all kinds of up and comers and movers and shakers and showbizzers and artists and art-minded people and activists and helpers and innovators and people that are changing the world. So it's fun, and we've got a guest every week, and keep an eye out on YouTube and Google search that or follow us on Instagram. It's worth it. You guys are gonna love it, and it's real succinct and short and 30 minutes and quick and easy and digestible, and it's not the basic questions. It's actually cool, nuanced, researched questions from me, your host of Easel. Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. I'm excited to check it out as well. And I mean, I couldn't think of a better host to guide us through the artistry that is present in LA than yourself.
Likewise, my friend, and thank you for this venture. I love that I can be on this venue with you, because you're skyrocketing with the content and the product and the material, and definitely the position and the mindset that you have to bring to the community. I'm honored.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Props to that.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can't thank you enough for saying such kind things.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the
Well,
beginning of this project, and you're part of it, and I really appreciate it. And
yeah.
at the
Great
end of
minds
the day,
like when
exactly, man,
folks think alike.
exactly. That's the goal. It's really to, I mean, like I mentioned to you before, a big part of this is also going to be to have a printed zine that we're going to be distributing in the community. And I mean, the goal at the end of the day, it's just bringing forth interesting theories and art and ideas and stories and poetry and music, that will spark, just inner thought and just exploration of things that we don't usually explore. And yeah, man, if we could get that zine out there and some random lady picks it up and for once thinks differently, then I did my job, So
Yeah.
I guess that's really the goal of it.
Yeah.
I thank you so much for praising that, because yeah, it means a lot to me. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Um,
I'll help with the coverage and awareness. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, you've been super kind to me, and I will let you go shortly. But I did want to ask you about one last thing.
Uh-huh.
You're one of the few people that has actually been put through the trolley problem thought experiment. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like, like I mean, it's something that I mean, I'm a student of psychology. Like we used to have to think about that all the time in different
Yeah.
classes and different scenarios, blah blah blah. And you always think about what you would do, but you were actually in a situation where you had to flip the switch.
Yeah.
I mean, how the fuck was that?
Oh, my. Taxing, not to break the word, but taxing. Yeah, it was the great philosophical question, the trolley experiment. We all studied it in school, and they put it as a YouTube themed show, and it was Minefield, a YouTube show, and they did an episode called The Greater Good. And yes, I was one of the unsuspecting participants, and me and this other girl out of like 7 were the ones that flipped the switch and saved, and made a decision and put fate in our hands, and lessened the damage, and flipped the switch and only killed 2 people instead of letting the track just go as it,
Right.
and killed the 7. So we lessened damages, and yeah, that was very brutal. But as an actor, you kind of catch on to what's being done. So you say, hey, I don't maybe guess that's so much real. So you can actually throw yourself out off the diving board and go for it with a reaction. But definitely it was coming from a moment of reality to me, and truth. And so what you see on that is what you get, and everyone should go check it out. It's at 10 million views now.
No, I think it's super cool, man. I was watching it last night, and
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, I've thought about that scenario a million times, but like they put you in the hot seat, and I thought that was really cool. I mean, like at the moment, I mean, what is even the thought? Because I mean, I'm assuming it's a bit fight or flighty.
Yes. Well, I think that, you just make the decision and go with what you do in the moment. And like a soldier would do on the battlefield, you would make a split-second decision that would try to lessen damages, and complete your mission. So I think that I just did the fight. And a lot of people in this day and age are comfortable doing the flight because it's awkward. Oh, that's awkward. Well, come on now. Now's the time. Stand up, do something, stand on principle, I guess. And also, I had remembered that probably experiment from college, but I kind of momentarily forgot about it when I was like in an episode. So
Yeah, no shit, man.
yeah,
It's a very different situation
yeah,
than just trying to.
yeah.
That's fucking cool, man. That's cool. Well, what else can I say, Cory? I mean, thank you so much for your time, bro.
Oh my, you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I'm such a big doofus. My phone is probably at 1%, so I appreciate it because I think we press end, then we can save the episode before it dies.
Most definitely, bro. Most definitely. So I hope we can do this again.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see all of your projects that are going on, bro. And once again, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate your time. And it died. All right. Well, once again, Cory, thank you. You're gone now, but I really do appreciate you, bro. And we definitely look forward to talking again.